After working with over 360 brands, these are the 3 mistakes that are preventing you from scaling. And when you fix these mistakes, you can triple your revenue. Like, for example, this brand did, going from 488K to 1.6 million. Now, this video is primarily going to be about email marketing, not so much paid ads. Before you click off, this is extremely important. When you watch this, you're able to get results like, for example, this brand, where every time they send out an email, they generate 9.4, 6, almost 5, 4, 8, 20K in sales. And remember, these sales are extremely profitable, 30, 60, 70% more profit margins than you would have if you just got these sales via paid ads. Now, I'm not bashing on paid ads. Paid ads are important. Without paid ads, you wouldn't get these results. But typically, the brands we work with, their email results look like shit. They are terrible. And I'm going to show you why this happens and how you can fix it. Now, typically what we see when we work with a brand, they have a pretty shitty hiring structure, fairly bad hiring experience. Even if they have a pretty decent sized team and they've got different employees for media buying, for creative strategy, they have really great systems built around paid ads, they suffer around email marketing. And that's because typically you have one person who has multiple responsibilities and they are just spread too thin. You might have a media buyer that all of a sudden starts to do email marketing, or you might have a creative strategist. Well, just because they know copy, they could do emails. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And realistically, what you're going to see is a lack of focus, which is going to result in probably lost revenue for both the thing they were actually meant to do and also emails. If we focus on the thing they're meant to do, if you have a creative strategist that all of a sudden starts writing emails, well, what about the extra creatives that you could have tested? What about the extra research your creative strategist could have done to find better creatives quicker? The second point is lack of skill. If someone is a creative strategist, they don't have the skill of email marketing, unfortunately. We've seen time and time again, people implement someone from their team to run emails, and then they come to us because their deliverability is fucked up. They send emails, but they're not going anywhere. The only thing they're going for sure is the spam. And at the end of the day, you're just going to get poor results from emails and poor results from other avenues you could be, working on. And the main issue we see with email marketing currently with brands is that if you want to have a proper email structure, you need to build out a team. You can't really hire just one person because email is not just a one-person job from what we've seen. Typically, from like a team structure standpoint, we have in our team, we have a team lead. That's not necessarily going to be important here for you, but we have a copywriter, email designer, accounts manager, and then email deliverability expert, email strategist. For example, these people are spread around our team. Each one of them, we have multiple of these positions. They're not just spread across all the 40-ish clients we're currently actively managing. There's different teams for like a set of 15, 17 clients per each team with multiple people in this team. Now, if you were to hire these people for just one brand, email is going to be very expensive. That's why we as an agency have a successful service, because you're able to get very, very high quality results for the price. But you could get away with one person doing emails if they are extremely, extremely capable. If they know all these things, they've had years and years of experience, you could hire them. But again, they're probably going to be relatively expensive. And if you're doing less than like 500K a month, probably not worth it. You might want to spend more money on people for meta ads, so on and so forth. And that's kind of like the point that I'm making here. Now, moving on to mistake number 2, it's basically sending every email as if it were a sale. Typically, with the most setups we see, people just set up 1 to 2 abandoned checkout emails and just only send email campaigns during holidays. The main issue is your conversion rate around email marketing is going to be bad, so you're going to think email marketing is bad. That's number 1. And number 2 is you're training your customers to buy only when you get the discount. The big brands, what they do instead in order to get sales, like for example, you can see here, for example, when it comes to sending emails and email newsletters, we send 3 email campaigns every single week. So it's 3 unique emails that are being created for this week. Now, this is not just sales. This is a mix of sales and also value emails. A great example of value email, I'll show you some email examples just in a bit. But a great example of value email would be for clothing brands. If you have a clothing brand, you can put together a fit for the customers to get. If you have a pets brand, you can send a relatively unrelated email, maybe like 3 easy tricks you can teach your pet. But basically integrate your product somewhere later in the email to show value and get people to read more and more and more. Now, next is focusing on angles. I'll dive into this a little bit later, but you can't just send emails with discounts all the time. Imagine if all the ads you ran were just 50%, 30%, buy one, get one free. If that was your entire offer and ad, your ad account would probably suck. The same mistake people make with emails, and they don't think about it because they only see this as a tool to just send discounts and get some sales here and then. And if you can't get a sale without discounting, it's primarily because you've trained your customers to buy only when you get a discount. That's number one. And number two, your emails just suck. The copywriting, layout, everything together sucks. And this goes back to like the hiring issue. If you work with someone who is not an email marketer, they're not going to do well, generally speaking. And last but not least is when you send email and when you set up email flows out, typically people add in way too few emails. In general, with every brand we work with that already has some email marketing set up, we end up adding 3 to 5 times more emails than they currently have, primarily because they're missing some crucial flows. And number two, because the flows that they do have don't have enough emails. So you can't attack enough angles, you can't handle enough objections, and therefore you can't generate conversions consistently. Now, moving into the next step, it's just this issue. People look at ads as something where they test angles and emails where they just run discounts. And that's not the case. And the easiest way for you to create more emails, this goes back to the previous point, is to recreate your winning ads into email examples. So for example, this is an ad by Dr. Squatch. This ad was super viral a couple of years ago. We created an email similar to that. This was for, I think, New Year's, the New Year's sale. This email did pretty well. You're able to get creative ideas. This is, for example, a sale. Obviously, it made sense to do a sale then. But again, this is something that if you open the email, it makes you stop and think about it. If there was an important announcement or maybe you launch a new product, this could be an email that you can send out in regards to this. Here, for example, is another one. This is for a client of ours, Evil Goods. They have a competitor, for example, had an ad like this. We found it on Foreplay, looked fairly good. We recreated this email into, recreated this ad into an email like this. And you can see the copywriting is clean. Email design, it's not super long, but it's straight to the point and talks about the main benefits you might need. And we don't have a discount. This is an interesting email that you can send out. And if you can come up with enough angles here, these emails are going to be a lot more interesting. Now, the question is about how can we get more angles and how can we find them? The main thing is customer research. And if you don't do enough customer research, you're going to suck. We've actually prepared a customer research document for you. And when you fill this out, you're going to understand your customers a lot better. If you're super lazy, you can just chuck these comments into ChatGPT and send them your landing page, your competitor's landing page and advertorials, and ask those to fill this out for you. Because successful advertorials are going to have these elements. They're going to touch upon the main fears. They're going to, understand what makes the audience angry. When you're able to understand these, it's going to be much easier for you to find new ad ideas and also email ideas for you to continuously run. Now, if you want to get access to this, just DM me CRDoc on Instagram. My Instagram is @emailreynolds. So like this. It's completely free. We're just going to send this out to you. But it's going to be the exact questions you want to answer, you want to think about, and even talk to your customer support teams, different teams, to get answers to these questions. This is extremely important because one of the most famous examples of using, for example, customer research avatars was Claude Hopkins. There was a beer brand called Schlitz Beer. If I remember correctly, they're probably the top 10 beers sold in America. He started a campaign, which was basically saying their beer is filtered. Now, the CEO of the beer company, they said, well, every beer is filtered, but Claude Hopkins said no one's talking about it. All of a sudden, they had something that made their product unique just by Claude researching the product development process. And they became the third or the second best-selling beer in the USA. And that's why a little research can go such a far way. You can, again, understand the main objections people have. You can understand the fears and desires customers have, and you can target them much, much better. And in return, you get more sales. But then again, if you want to learn more how to do this and how, and the questions exactly to ask, DM me CRDoc on Instagram. Just send this to me and I'll send this document to you. Take care.